Alright, so today I'm back with another Blue Lock leak video, and today we will go over chapter 319, which is pretty unexpected as Nigeria actually goes on the attack for once, and it gets a bit dangerous, but I don't want to say too much, so you will just have to sit back and watch to find out what happens. Anyway, before jumping into it, please leave a like and a comment, and with that out of the way, let's get into it. Also, if you want to check out the leaks for yourself, then I will put a link down in the comments where you can look at them. So we start this chapter off with seeing silhouettes of all the Neo-Egoist League Masters. We also see Ego, who is looking closely at the ongoing game as he asks why football and why it draws people in so deeply, asking someone if they understand. After that, we see the beginning of the match as Isagi passes the ball towards Ren. We then get back to Ego's philosophical speech as he says that regardless of birth or wealth, with just a single ball, anyone in the world can freely begin playing football. We then go back to the match, where we see Rin steamrolling through some of the Nigeria defenders. But if you thought that Ego was done speaking, then you would be wrong, as he says that this is without a doubt one of the reasons why the number of people who participate in this sport is so great, but at its essence, it is something even more primal. When it comes down to it, the origin of sports is why the human heart instinctively becomes enthralled by sports. With that, Ego is done for a little while as we go back to Rin, who actually faced some trouble as Oboabona came crashing into his body and stole away the ball from him. He looks around the field and says, "Activate Nigeria's counterattack." After that, he passes the ball over to Kuso, who has Bachira close by him, so he sends it towards Bello. Bello takes it flawlessly and tells himself not to pass to Onatsi, but instead go for the goal himself, which we see here as he completely catches Karasu off guard and gets behind him. Karasu is in shock as he wonders if they have changed up their style before telling them not to even dream of scoring. And he then closes the distance to Bello, which forces Bello to pass to his side, where another player called Sadiq is. He compliments Bello's pass. Ryo screams towards the team that he is attacking solo, and Chigiri says that he is on board, and says that they all need to adapt to them. The Nigerian attacker then says that they will also play selfishly as he rushes to both Chigiri and Ryo. However, we then get back to the bull cut himself, Ego, who says that this sport of football forms teams. However, his conversation quickly gets put on hold as Chigiri tells Ryo to go, and they both decide to close in on him. This makes him struggle to do anything with the ball, so it launches high up into the sky. But with that, we go back to Ego, who says that they exchange one another's wills, corner the prey, and deliver the final strike. It is nothing less than the evolved form of group hunting. Then what is the role of the striker at the very front lines of the struggle, avoiding the enemy's gaze? They are the ones who deliver the fatal strike to the great prey, and because of this, the striker is the being that instinct itself pursues as the hero. We then see that the loose ball fell into the hands of Onatsi, who quickly comes and takes it. However, Isagi is quickly closing in on him, which makes Onatsi look extremely worried. But even then, with the ball in the air, and Aiku, Ryu, and Isagi right around him, he goes into a shooting stance, but it then looks like he goes back on his actions as he doesn't find the opportunity to fire it off. He then gets an annoyed smirk and says that Japan's really something, and after that, he passes to the side. Ryu looks completely amazed as he is in shock by why Onatsi, who is the ace, would pass right in front of the goal, and even Aiku calls it unexpected. Even then, Onatsi tells Kuso to go, as the ball is quickly going to him, who just as fast goes into a shooting stance and is getting ready to deal the fatal blow. But before we see any more, Ego continues his yapping and says that in other words, the so-called world's #1 striker must also be the world's #1 hunter. And let me tell you that what happens now is crazy, as Kuso tries to shoot the ball into the net. However, just then Rin pops up, and in the last second he is able to deflect the ball with his leg, which makes it bounce away. Kuso literally looks stunned. Meanwhile, Rin looks super fierce as he tells Kuso that his desire to score isn't strong enough. He calls him too soft and calls him a four-eyed cornrow nerd as the ball soars high into the ground. We also see Aiku, who begins to dash forward as he activates his meta vision. Hey, it's Natsu mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well? But before that, you know what time it is, as Ego says that, and that is why humans feel the most primal pulse of life in this simple game of kicking a ball and instinctively become addicted to it. He calls this football's formula of frenzy, and just then, we see Aiku, who jumps high up into the air and is able to head away the ball from the Nigeria team. The ball then goes to Blue Lock's hero Isagi, who looks determined towards Rin as he tells him to try him, and Rin looks right towards Isagi as he tells him to let's go. After that, Isagi's puzzle pieces begin to scatter around as he starts sprinting with the ball and also has Rin by his side. We then see Ego looking super locked in as he tells them to go hunting. saying that hunters who dream of being the world's best should go prove that they are the heroes. After that, the ending text says, "Crave your life, or also ego. Display your way of living. Aspire to the summit that will be carved into history." With that, I have some sad news, which is that next week will in fact be a break week, which sucks. However, the authors have been on a crazy streak, so this is more than enough deserved. Anyway, the next chapter will be called Hero or Die, which just sounds so insanely cool. Now I also strongly believe that it will actually be about Rin. We know that his whole flashback was about that hero, and how he wanted to fight a hero, and then crush him and die, or something along those lines. So the hero in this question could be Isagi, and Rin will fight with him for the upcoming goal. However, one thing is certain, whether the title or not, I think that the next chapter will be extremely Isagi and Rin based, which I absolutely love. Alright, now let's quickly go over this chapter. Now, as I said in the previous chapter reviews, I'm really against Nigeria just kind of stealing the whole thing with Blue Lock about everyone going for the goal. I don't know, it just seems kind of insane that a team in the U20 World Cup doesn't have a good enough strategy on their own and has to copy the other team. Also, I did think that Oboabona casually being able to steal away the ball from Rin was a bit weird. As we have seen, I think, at least 2 times before how Oboabona wasn't able to do anything about Rin. It might have been that he wasn't used to Rin and didn't know anything, but still, this looked a bit too easy. Also, I'm not gonna lie, but Rin stopping Kuso's shot was pretty dope. Actually, I know that the whole thing about the attackers doing the defender's job and defending is a bit controversial in Blue Lock, which I agree with. However, for this one I thought that it was super sick. It might be because we haven't seen Rin being active in a while though, to be honest. But that's also why I'm so looking forward to get to know what it is that Isagi and Rin will do now as they rush towards the goal, and not to mention who will get the next goal. Personally, I really hope that Blue Lock is able to smash in a 3rd goal right now and not getting stopped. But I guess that we will just wait and see. However, let me know what you would want, another goal for Blue Lock or Nigeria stopping it. Also, since Ego's long speech is separated into a bunch of parts, I thought that I should probably end the video by reading it bar for bar so that you get a better understanding about the whole thing. So anyway, with full context, it goes like this. Why football? Why does it draw people in so deeply? Do you understand? Regardless of birth or wealth, with just a single ball, anyone in the world can freely begin playing football. This is without a doubt one of the reasons why the number of people who participate in this sport is so greater, but at its essence, it is something even more primal. When it comes down to it, the origin of sports, that is why the human heart instinctively becomes enthralled by sports. And this sport of football forms teams, exchanges one another's wills, corners the prey, and delivers the final strike. It is nothing less than the evolved form of group hunting. Then what is the role of the striker? At the very front lines of the struggle, avoiding the enemy's gaze, they are the one who delivers the fatal strike to the great prey. And because of this, the striker is the being that instinct itself pursues as the hero. In other words, the so-called world's #1 striker must also be the world's #1 hunter. And that is why humans feel the most primal pulse of life in this simple game of kicking a ball and instinctively become addicted to it. This is football's formula of frenzy. Go hunting. Hunters who dream of being the world's best. Go prove that you are the heroes. Now, I'm finally done, and some of you might feel like this part was not super necessary. However, as his speech was scattered throughout this whole chapter, I thought that it was kind of important to not misunderstand anything and to grasp the full picture. Not to mention that one of my personal favorite things in Blue Lock has to be these deep and analytical speeches that the masters but also Ego always throws, as sometimes they can really teach us valuable things. This one I'm not too sure about. However, some are very important. Anyway, please let me know what you thought about this chapter down in the comments, and also let me know what you think will happen in the next chapter. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.